I'm very happy to be here with my fellow leaders, and I adhere to the premise that leaders are born, and everyone who's attending here today has been born. So we're all leaders. Everything else that happens in our lives we can take away from that the ability to improve our leadership ability. And it's been a great experience for me. So I've had quite a range of experiences in neurosurgery. Starting out really in a public hospital here in Chicago, the Cook County Hospital, back in the day when it was really one of the major training centers in the country, and really soaking up that experience and being able to take advantage of that experience. I've had great role models throughout my life, starting with my parents, of course, and I think that's a great place to start. And my father served in the United States Army during World War II in the Pacific Theater. My grandfather served in World War I. So that got me interested in the service in the United States Army. So I joined the Army Reserve shortly after finishing my residency, and no good deed goes unpunished. I was called up for Operation Desert Shield and Desert Storm, but I can't remember which philosopher said it, but that which does not kill you makes you stronger. And that contributed to my leadership story. I enjoyed my time serving in the United States Army during Operation Desert Shield, Desert Storm. What the service component of my experience did for me, which it does for really anyone who's served in the military, is that it brings you into contact with people that you may never come in contact with in your life, and brings you into contact. I mean, of course, as doctors, we're very fortunate to come into contact with people whom we otherwise may not ever come into contact. But the military brings you into contact with people who are healthy and have that same commitment to service. And so really the common thread, I think, for those of us who have served is this servant leadership quality. And there have been some great books that have been written on it. One of the most popular, which I commend to everyone, and which I've given out in many venues to many different people, including my neurosurgery residents, is Leaders Eat Last. And Ryan, as a Marine, is very familiar with that credo, which is in the Marine Corps. And Simon Sinek had the ability to study this leadership style of the Marines, the servant leadership style, and Leaders Eat Last, which is in the Marine Corps, the commander of whatever unit it is, from a rifle platoon to a company commander to a general. The common thread is that everyone below in the ranks gets taken care of before the leader takes care of him or herself. So it's the motto is Leaders Eat Last, or Serve to Lead, which is the motto of the Sandhurst British Military Academy. So servant leadership has been my particular style. I like to be in the trenches, so to speak, with my group, and I'd like to think that I will do anything that they have to do at any particular time. And it's served me well, and I've really enjoyed the opportunities to interact, especially with neurosurgery residents. For medical students, you've got a lot on your plate, and it will only get more and more full for you as time goes by. But I encourage everyone to read books like Leaders Eat Last, or I have, there's a great book out called, and I have it right here, How to Think Like a Roman Emperor, which is a book about Marcus Aurelius. And so philosophy of leadership is really important to read about and to add to our armamentarium. And I'll stop there.
Great. Thank you, Dr. Cybulski. So one of the things I think is going to be really interesting about today is we can kind of crosstalk a lot about maybe some of the similarities or differences in leadership that's sort of bred between the different branches of the military. I know in the Marine Corps, it is, it's not just a notion or a fun idea. It's hard policy that the order in which everyone literally eats when you are on a field op starts with the lowest ranking person up until the company commander being the last person to eat. Was that your experience in the Army and when you were out on field ops and things like that as well?
Well, that's a great question. I'd like to think it was, at least for myself personally, but the Army is different. The Army is like a big corporation. And it's because it's so huge, and there's so many more support people in the Army. For example, I think the ratio of a fighting person, an infantry person in the Army to support is like 1 to 5 or 6. And so as opposed to the Marine Corps, where it's much smaller ratio, and really the dictum is to support the infantry. I'd like to say that the Army, at least in spirit, has that attitude. And there have been certainly many leaders in the Army who we can read about, and or fascinating characters like Grant and Sherman in the Civil War. But really, I think the Army probably needs a little more focus on servant leadership in that regard.
Interesting. I'm curious. I don't want to put Dr. Wolf on the spot. If you're looking elsewhere on the screen, do you have any input from the Navy side on that?
Sure, absolutely. I absolutely espouse servant leadership. And that has been the motto that I have used, that I learned from my dad, who is also a Navy captain, and that served me very well in the military, and again, as a program director. And it's, it was interesting. I was actually stationed at Triple Army Medical Center for most of my Navy career, the active duty portion of it. And so I got to see the crossover between the Navy and the Army. And so that was a very interesting area to be in, and I have all kinds of wonderful stories. So when you're ready for me, I can give those. But it was an interesting thing to see that the Army and the Navy definitely functioned in a very different way, and the Navy very much takes care of its own and acts as a close-knit group. Even though the Navy is huge, each kind of battle group really makes sure that the esprit de corps, if you will, is taken care of. And that idea of team is not only the huge overarching Navy, but there are multiple teams within. And so it really impressed upon me the importance of the small team and leadership within the small team from everybody, from boots on the ground on up. And so that was something that was really important. And really that idea of fostering team, that's probably my most important job as a leader, is, not just to lead, but to foster that leadership in every single team member at the spot that they are, and investing in them.
Hey everyone, Ryan Rad here from neurosurgerytraining.org. If you like that video, subscribe and donate to keep our content available for medical students across the world.